Welcome back, tribe. I have an article here I don't even know what to say anymore, dude. Western women never cease to surprise me. How an illicit affair saved my marriage. So she got some repair D that fixed her marriage. Here we go. Been that guy, done that before. It's kind of crazy when you hear the justifications. Oh, man. It began. Oh, let me make this bigger for you guys. You can follow this along. It began as a typical Saturday night. And pay attention how shit like this happens. Out with my closest women friends. Red flag. Out on a Saturday night. But on that particular evening, as we sat laughing and talking in a popular New York restaurant, acquaintances were seated nearby celebrating their friend Alex's birthday. They invited us to join their table for a toast, which turned into several. When the house music came on and everyone headed to the bar, Alex, handsome and playful, took my hand and led me to the dance floor. You're a married woman. Look at what they're doing. In the time it took for his fingers to encircle mine, what had been a quiet attraction became an all-consuming need. Here we go, dude. The smut begins. I heard the warning voice in my head reminding me that having an illicit affair was dangerous territory. However alone I might feel, I was in fact married. And then, for the first time in 10 years, she silenced it. As Alex placed his hands on my hips, I knew with absolute clarity that I was about to have an affair. Hands on hips. One night out with the girlfriends, drinking at a restaurant. Red flag after red flag. Why are you hanging out with the opposite sex? Do what our grandparents did. They were never alone with the opposite sex. They never had problems like this. I knew it was a decision that could unravel even the strongest of unions, so strong that you're fucking a random dude for the first night you met him. I never could have guessed that it would save mine. Here comes the modern code, dude. Look at the justifications. I had felt this kind of passion only once before when I first encountered the man who would be my husband. I was wandering my college campus, terrified, when a gorgeous man walked confidently up the hill. He saw me and asked if he could help me find my way. Well, yes, I wanted to respond. How about forever? Does that forever work for you? James was indeed confident, as well as wry, brilliant, fearless, and inspiring. While I was literally without a sense of direction, still searching for my dorm room. Poor James. He was planning his future as a doctor. Wow, potential. She saw it in him. 2 years later, I selected a major that would help ensure my future as a writer. James signed up to study Black history and South Africa, knowing it was his last chance to pursue other interests before his medical training. So dude's coasting it on his last year. He's about to be a doctor. She's got winner, winner, chicken dinner, getting paid for life, bug sandwich, wallets busted open. I slept in on the weekends while he got up to tutor underprivileged children. This guy's incredible. What else can this dude do? What's his name? This is James. James is crushing it and gets cheated on by a dude named Alex. I gained and kept the freshman 15. James competed in 2 varsity sports on top of that. Talk about high achiever. And while I continued to feel uncomfortable in the world, James was my home. Damn, he was the rock in the safe place. I put away my SOS flares. I had been rescued. He saved the day. When we decided to get married right after graduation, it was easy to ignore those who were concerned that we were too young. The naysayers, I reasoned, were simply amazed that I had this love thing all wrapped up by the age of 21. And for the first few years of marriage, that reasoning held water. Sure, James worked nonstop. Yeah, no shit, you want a high-performance type A doctor. But I too had found a career that I excelled at. My job, he should have put babies in her and made her stay at home. Like, forget your career. You have a doctor husband. That's a failure partly on his end. But, okay, he's working too much. He's type A. He's laser focused, making money. And this is kind of what happens when you get this kind of man. These women think they're Casanovas, like you're going to get swept off your feet every time he comes home. It'll be with a box of chocolates and flowers, roses everywhere, petals all over. No, that shit doesn't happen. You want a type A man that performs at peak and always brings in the money and is always getting better and is doing shit like helping underprivileged kids, but is also in 2 varsity sports and becoming a doc and all this stuff, residency and all this. You can't expect him to be everything. You already have a man that could provide you a lifestyle most women could dream of. You better be okay and supportive and there at his every woman need when he comes home exhausted from his high performance life. Of course, it's never enough. They don't understand what they have until they lose it. My job called me to travel to glamorous destinations, red flag, and meet with influential people. She was getting her guts rearranged. I was promoted at a record place, aka I was on my knees sucking them off for promos. But every weekend, every stolen vacation reminded me that we were in this together. We cooked extravagant meals for each other and for friends. We hopped flights to Rome or Paris for a few days. We spent weekends tracking lions in Africa, trekking through the Southeast Asia, or making love on empty Caribbean beaches. Where is the problem? Then came the 4 years of James' residency and a subsequent fellowship. So he's doing what he said he was going to do. You married a doctor. Now he has to have residency and fellowship. Surprise to absolutely fucking nobody. His schedule required him to be gone most weekends. Hello, you picked him. When he was home, he was somnambulant. Okay, never heard that word before. Because I was passionate about my job and my friends, my needs when it came to James were fairly minimal compared with those of other spouses I knew. All the same, he wasn't close to meeting them. Chronically exhausted, no shit. He would spend our occasional vacations face planted on the beach while I restlessly paced the low tide line. Being with James was no longer a solution to feeling lost and anxious, and I lacked the skills to comfort myself. I was so immature. At least you mentioned that. I was so immature, I didn't know it was a skill set. I tried reminding myself that there was a man willing to sacrifice everything for his deep belief that he could help others. Wow, dude. You see how the demons, this is, you can't explain anything else. This is demonic way to justify you being a piece of shit. Sure, I was among the sacrificed. Is that what you are, the sacrificed? This is what it means to be sacrificed, guys. We hopped flights to Rome or Paris for a few days. We spent weeks tracking lions in Africa, trekking through Southeast Asia, or making love on empty Caribbean beaches. That's a victim. That's the sacrificed. Wow. Sure, I was among the sacrificed, but at least I got to stand next to a person who was making a difference. But the more people commented on how perfect James was, the more trapped and angry I felt. What about me? There we go, making it a competition. You got the golden example of a man. But I want attention. Had I been a child of 8 rather than a woman of 28, I might have had a temper tantrum. Instead, 7 years into our marriage, I had an affair. Fuck. Several days after meeting Alex, I attended a party I knew he would be at. Premeditated cheating. As I had hoped, he asked me to have dinner with him afterward. We talked for hours. He was vivacious. He was interesting. And he was interested in me. He was awake. Dude is not a doctor. Dude is not perfect like your man. And he was nothing like James. When he kissed me goodbye, I felt high. The novelty of something new. Congratulations, you're about to destroy your marriage for a guy that doesn't really give a fuck about you. Then I ran for the bathroom and vomited until there was nothing left. Bet you that shit didn't stop her. Still, I was convinced that Alex was my path to happiness. Look at what a fucking moron this person is. You think a man is your path to happiness is the equivalent of a man thinking a woman can make him happy. Ridiculous. We had lunch, we had dinner, and we finally made love. Oh, is that what it's called? Making love. And a month after that, as we lay in his bed watching the first snowfall, we threw on our clothes and ran to the park to make snow angels. This is a married woman. There, lying on the cold ground and looking up at the stars, we whispered that we loved each other. Fucking hell. We weren't an obvious match. No shit. And not only because I was married, Alex was from a boisterous, family-focused clan who believed no time apart could be of any quality. I was an only child, accustomed to empty spaces filled comfortably with my own silence. Professionally, I was ambitious and filled with energy, tearing into each day like a dervish. Alex, on the other hand, was mellow and observant, gives no fucks, Chad. He was nothing like James, my type A high-performance, got-it-all perfect man that I can't live up to and people compare and try to take from me, and I'm sick of it. And so I'll just get a bum that likes to chill. He doesn't give a fuck, though, but he slings pipe. And the man I had been drawn to in the past, passive instead of ferocious, content instead of constantly conquering. But he was a respite from James' force field, as well as a center of calm for me. Oh my God, bro. Talk about Western women smut right here. This is what happens when you get married in the West. Look, to these kinds of women with this level of mentality. I told you guys, this modern mentality is absolute trash. Leave them all in the dumpsters where they belong. Go out east or go out west. Come to the Balkans, go to Africa, go to Southeast Asia. Fuck the rest. It's garbage. Anything in the West is trash. Sorry. I don't give a fuck. Not infrequently, during a demanding day at work, I would find a delivery man standing in my office with a boxed lunch Alex had ordered for me to make sure I remembered to eat. Flowers arrived frequently for good reasons and for no reason. And he was a wonderful playmate, up for any adventure, from making reservations at a new restaurant we were both interested in to hopping a plane at the last minute to meet me wherever my job had sent me. Alex was 100% available, an unflinching, loving companion. While illicitness might initially be exciting, It doesn't take long to crash into the inevitable recognition that what you're doing is bad. Oh my God. When did this realization hit? Fucking 1 year into this shit? Sharing details with close friends is asking them to bear the burden of guilt that isn't theirs. And how could I explain to them, let alone myself, that even as I was pursuing this affair, I was still in love with my husband? I found myself living in an isolated life of lies, born out of a love for one too many. Woe is me. I'm the victim here. I don't know what to do. Not that I cheated my fucking husband who hasn't done anything wrong and provided the lifestyle that he promised by getting into, med school and getting his residency and all this shit. No. No, I'm the victim here. A year into my affair and now a year into this affair and fucking her husband on the side too. Telling, can you imagine the little, I love you, honey. Love you, honey. I gotta go. My residency. I'm so tired. Yeah. I'll fly out to Rome in these 2 days just so I can spend some time with you. Yeah. While you're getting piped by another dude. Fucking demons. And now chronically exhausted myself, I realized I could no longer stay in a marriage that caused me to dishonor it so blatantly. When things first began with Alex, I had been panicked that James would find out, or that a mutual friend would see us walking down the street and somehow know we were lovers, though we were never affectionate in public. Yeah, because you're doing something wrong, you fuck. But as the months went on and James remained clueless, I began to get angry. For years I had begged, then battled for his attention. Now, though, I was still in love with him. I quietly ceded a fight I knew I couldn't win. When my husband came home from a weekend shift at the hospital, tired as shit, I told him we needed to separate. He asked if there was someone else. I told him yes, but that he wasn't the reason for our break. We fell asleep clinging tightly to each other. Fucking simp. We should have kicked her out. As though in our dreams we could make it all better. At 5 a.m., I was awakened by a call from James. Oh my God. Already back at the hospital. He wanted to tell me about his terrible nightmare from the night before, in which I had told him our marriage was over and that I was having an affair. I didn't know what to say. Several days later, James moved out. I entered the state of acceptance and mourning that had been circling for years. But as I adjusted to the shock of living by myself for the first time in my life, I did nothing to fast forward my relationship with Alex. You mean the go-lucky, happy, super chilled out dude with no ambitions that you never actually go for? You mean it was only interesting sexually because you already had a man that had all the things you wanted. And now when you're forced to choose between your normal preference of a type A high performer versus mellowed out Alex, you don't like him as much anymore. Wow. Look at that. We would still spend the occasional night together, but without the thrill of it. Listen, there goes the novelty of being a cheater. There simply wasn't a thrill. I got bored of him. Wow. I was also determined, however, tentatively to touch a toe into the waters of what it meant to be alone, to be lonely. Oh, so this is sort of trying to maybe punish herself. And as I did, I began to learn that I was just fine. 6 months after James and I had separated, I remember walking down the street thinking about him. Suddenly, my legs went weak, and within seconds, I found myself weeping on the sidewalk. Oh no, I made a mistake. How could I have left my perfect husband for this fucking moron that can't even get off his couch? Okay. It had taken this time apart, to realize what I lost. That my husband was a man I could indeed live without, but I sure as hell didn't want to. Oh my God. And so with the confidence that Alex, after rearranging my guts, had taught me by showing me how valuable I was, I slowly entered back into a relationship with James. Never go back to trash. See, this is where James is a fucking simp. You never go back to garbage that cheats on you like that. We began by having a drink and then dinners and then a weekend away. I took what I had learned from Alex and his view of the world into my interactions with James. No expectations. Fucking disgust. Both these men are fucking losers. Allow the other person to be who they are. This is why women get away with dumb shit like this. You see who is on the other end? James and Alex, both fucking morons. Feel nothing for James. He's an idiot. He got back with a woman that cheated on him with an affair over a year. Great moron. Allow the person to be who they are. Oh, now she accepts him for what he is, a hardworking doctor. Hear it, really hear it, and then accept it or not. No more punishing James for who he was, or thinking my demands could change him. If I choose to try and live with him again, I vow to be a responsible party rather than a victim. She's a victim through all this. How could you work so hard? How could you be a doctor? How could you help underprivileged kids? What the fuck? You're too perfect. I'm a victim. Western woman mentality. And for the first time in my life, I felt the gravitas of being an adult, capable of doing just that. I got my guts rearranged by Alex, and now I'm a fucking adult. Can't believe the shit I'm reading. Finally, my husband said the Words I'd waited so many years to hear. As we lay in bed one evening, fucking simp, before he returned to his own apartment, he wrapped his arms around me and whispered, just like a good little simp doctor he is, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Fucking simps. While I moved cautiously back toward my husband, cautiously moves back after her weak knees event on the sidewalk. Okay. I moved quickly away from my lover. Oh, the whole time she's seeing the other dude. Of course, while she's back to dating her husband, she's still fucking another guy. Oh, shocker to absolutely nobody. In the park where we had first said we loved each other 18 months before, I told Alex that I was considering reconciling with James. You're more than reconciling. You were just in his bed, wrapped in his arms, saying you love each other. This person is so full of shit, bro. What a narcissist psychopath. We cried and embraced. Oh my God, they had a teary moment. And I promised him that I would remain his friend. Let me keep you in the orbit in case I get bored of my husband again or I just need some dick. If he would allow me to. I knew the chances were slim at best, but love is anything but predictable. Still loves the other guy, wants to get back to the guaranteed paycheck. Recently, Alex and I were back into each other's arms, but this time we stood in broad daylight and our embrace was one of gratitude. I'm so thankful you fucked my brains out while I was married. In the 8 years since our affair ended, shit, we became what ex-lovers dream of but seldom achieve. Extremely close, unconditionally devoted companions. What the hell? We share all our news and we call each other on our bad behavior. We are friends with every benefit that matters. No condoms required. And though I keep my relationship with Alex a secret from my husband, it is not out of guilt or shame. Why is it a secret? Listen to this bullshit. You're married. You're back together. You told each other you love each other. Alex, a secret. She keeps her relationship a secret from her husband. Not out of guilt or shame. She doesn't feel bad about that at all. She feels bad that you would feel bad about being reminded that the guy that rearranged her guts for years into your marriage, who she loves, but got bored of the moment she got divorced because, the novelty of being a cheating piece of shit is gone, would make you feel bad. It's because I don't wish to remind James of a time when I chose another. I don't want to remind him I'm a piece of shit, basically. I used to think that if I could combine Alex and James, I would have the perfect man. The caricature of like a lazy doctor. He's always available, but he's also working saving the kids. Fucking Western women, bro. Jesus Christ. I would have the perfect man. I wasn't wrong. They do indeed fill each other's blanks, serving my different needs. You hear this bullshit? Many people in my life can't fathom how I have fulfilling relationships with them both. But I know the truth. These two very different men have taught me what it is to be truly loved and in turn how to love. Fuck that. I hope you enjoyed this smut-ass article because millions of men are probably going through a variation of this bullshit in the West. This is the toxic mentality I told you guys about. They read this shit. They embody this shit. Social media pushes this shit. Culture celebrates this shit. Do not get married to a Western woman for this reason. One of millions. I don't give a fuck anymore about your needle in the haystack. Not all of us, but all of you, all the time, are the ones that do this. Okay? Not all women, but it's always a woman doing this shit. Always a Western woman. It's not all Western women, but it's always a Western woman. I don't care, bro. Whatever. You go and take your own calculated risk as a Western man. If you want to deal with this kind of bullshit, I already told you, you need to find a woman that has very strong ties to her family, strong father figure present, with a very conservative traditional household, maybe God-fearing, doesn't have to be, but is from the old world ways of doing things. Mother and father are very present in the home. They don't hang around the opposite sex. They probably don't smoke. They don't drink. They homestead on some sense or live on a farm or just touch grass every fucking day. They know what matters, and it's beyond material possessions. It's connections, presence with the family, relationships. Find yourself that kind of woman, you will do all right. 99.9% of the women in the West are not that woman. You will be a needle in a haystack search for the rest of your fucking life until you find somebody that comes from a family like that. Sorry, bro, it's the truth. You want to invest in that and get burned? That's your prerogative. I'm not going to say nothing. I already been warning you guys. Heed my warnings at your own risk. That's it. End of story. I'm in the Balkans, in Europe. I've already done well for myself. You can't see her now because the camera's tilted here, but in the last episode, you saw her. She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's feminine, she's fit, she's very friendly, doesn't hang around dudes, not vaxxed. Came from a traditional village of 200 people. a whole bunch of a slew of things about being feminine and submissive and all that shit. I fucking don't have to repeat this shit all the time. Many men, even in the private community, when we have the chats or in the comment section, could tell you, go to other parts like Asia and all that shit. You will find the same women that will serve you, want to be mothers, want to bear your babies, want you to lead, understand what a man's value is, still respect men, understand gender dynamics, don't live in la la land or rainbow hair and piercings and all that bullshit. And above all else, understand what's the most important, family, and will not leave it for bullshit like this. You don't even have to argue with women about having guy friends, dumb shit like that, or choosing to stay at home for the children. These aren't even conversations that you have to have in the rest of the world. It's only in the West where you have to convince a woman to be a woman. So, yeah, pursue this bullshit at your own risk. And that's not even getting into the laws. Because that dude getting divorced, who knows how much shit she got. And she was fucking another dude for a whole year. Still kept them as friends the entire time they got back together. Still hanging out with him because she gets her heart filled by both dudes. All right, dude, cool story. Yeah. And they push this shit. This is an article online, smut bullshit that girls are reading. You know, I had a weird dating here before I found my woman. I had a weird kind of realization that some of these younger women are actually worse off. Although we talk about like get you a younger woman, 20s, all that shit, at least here in the Balkans and other parts of Europe, the younger ones are worse than some of the more 25 and up ones because they were raised in this TikTok brain rot social media mentality that they're completely far gone. Me being 34, I just have nothing in common with these younger ones, and it's absolutely brain numbing. I lose neurons having conversations with them in general. We have nothing in common. The generational gap's gotten too big personally, but they're also completely brainwashed in these cold progressive leftist values. They'll say some off the cuff shit that just completely disqualifies them from ever being a wife. You'll find more traditional, more conservative, less body count women that are older here in the Balkans, at least. The chick could be 28. She still has to ask her dad to go out on a date. You get a young 19-year-old chick out here potentially with a TikTok brain mentality, bro, she is far gone. That whole youth thing is getting turned on its head, unfortunately. Southeast Asia, not the same. Obviously, they're more conservative there, but it's hitting everybody. So we're in the weird situation where somehow what was safe, the younger, less emotional trauma and baggage chicks are now actually more toxic, have more drama, more baggage, more radicalized ideas about genders and men and all that shit because of social media. It's a weird little trend, dude. I personally noticed it myself. I don't know if you guys did too, but let me know. Anyways, thoughts on this episode, your experiences overseas versus dating American women, specifically since, lived in America for so long, or in the West in general. A lot of dudes don't believe it until they go out there. Still shocks guys that go out there in the private community. Links for all that stuff is in the description below, but I guarantee you, we had one guy that hadn't dated in America for 8 years. Went to Thailand. The dude went on multiple dates, smashed a bunch of chicks. Has a girlfriend now, real girlfriend, not paying for Thai chicks, like real traditional relationship. Went out with the girl, had like coffee, had a, lunch, whatever, went for a walk by the beach, all that stuff. Rom-com stuff still exists in the rest of the world. He didn't get berated. He didn't get shit on. He didn't get laughed at because they went on a coffee and a walk and all this stuff. No, she loved him for it, appreciated him for his time. And he looks like he's got color back in his face, like life is breathing into him. That's what I told him. That's what happens when you meet women that actually value men. They make you want to live longer. You get with a woman that hates men, she wants you, you'll go into the grave faster. That's what's happening. Anywho, take care, boys. Hope you had a good weekend. See you on the next one.